Got it.
How you doing, man? You doing all right? Can you hear me okay? Okay, perfect.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Wednesday night, 8 o'clock. We got the Miller Boys, and we're in touch with you and everything that's going on. So sit back and relax for the next 60 minutes as we have our discussion about things that are impacting the African American community of the city of Fresno and the surrounding area. As always, I'm joined by my brother, G. Douglas. What's
What's
going
going
on?
on, y'all? Hey. Oh, being beautiful, man. Just trying to make it from point A to point B.
So I don't have no announcements like I normally would do. My brain is racing, man. I've been all over the place. So COVID testing, if anybody needs to go get COVID testing, you can go get COVID testing every Wednesday and Saturday at the Fresno County Fairgrounds and the Chance Street parking lot. You drive up, you don't need any reservations beforehand. They have one of those, I don't even know what you would call it, where you have a line, the conga line. They have like 4 or 5 stations going through, so you don't even get out your car. You drive up, they swab your nose. Fresno County then. It's one of those no news is good news things. If you hear back from them, that means you're positive. If you don't hear back from them, then you're negative. And so that's the big one that's going on right now. It's a joint effort, I believe, between the city of Fresno and the county of Fresno. There's some other ongoing sites down at EOC every Tuesday, but you have to contact them to make a reservation. Thursdays out at the Mariella Brown Center. Firm, which I don't know what firm stands for. F period, I period, R period, M period. Firm, if you look up firm, they're also doing COVID testing. That's over off of Fresno Street between McKinley and Clinton. And so there's a couple of different places that are doing COVID testing. Those of you who want to know what's going on with your body, please go out and get tested. I just went yesterday. I haven't heard back from them, although I did get an email back with my chart. For anybody who is hooked into my chart with Fresno County, with your doctors and stuff, they'll send your results back that way also based off of your cell phone or your email. I wasn't able to access it on my phone, but I have to now get into it in my email. But anyway, COVID is we're still in the purple, which is the highest or the worst zone that you can be in here in the San Joaquin Valley. And so please protect yourself. Go get tested so that you know what's going on. That's the announcement I got. I can't think of nothing else. It's the holiday season. Christmas is coming up. I know Christmas is going to be different this year for lots of different people. Given COVID, people not being able to get together. Use Zoom and some of these other technologies to be able to reach out to your family and put together some type of celebration that way. But please, celebrate the holidays in some fashion that's amenable to you. So, one of the other things that's going on with the COVID is we are worried about the physical components of how it's breaking down our body and stuff. But one of the other things they're finding out, even with young people in particular, is the mental, the psychological components that's going on with COVID. People are getting basically stir crazy from being at home, not being able to be with their friends, their classmates, their co-workers. And so you've got to find some other type of ways to be able to stimulate your mind so that you don't go crazy during this period of the pandemic and when we're locked down. So anyway, those are kind of
that brings me to people ain't got no hobbies.
But think about it, dude. If your hobby is hunting,
Y'all ain't got no hobbies.
if your hobby is hunting, or say your hobby is athletics, where you go play basketball with the boys at Holmes Playground, you can't do that. Playground is closed. Even outdoor playgrounds are being locked up, to accessibility to people. So yeah, I mean, some people got hobbies where they can do some things. And some people's hobbies lead them to be interactive with other people. And so if it's an interactive type of activity or interactive hobby that you've got, you're not going to be able to do that right now. So it's just something else to think about. I mean, we haven't really talked about as a society about the psychological damage or the psychological impact that COVID has had on us. We had that young man, I think it was a young man. I don't even know if it was a boy or girl, but it was a kid that was 11 years old, committed suicide on Zoom during his class in Stockton. I think it was in Lodi. I'm sorry, not Stockton, in Lodi. A couple of weeks ago. I don't know all the parameters, all the details about it, but if you got an 11-year-old kid who is basically taking his life in a public means, that's a huge cry for assistance. And so we just need to be aware of that and guard against it as best you can. So one of the things, we're going to talk about mom. Hopefully we'll talk about mom a little bit. One of the things about our mom that just passed, that one of the ways that she kept herself going, she's a busybody, is by doing Sudoku puzzles. She did Sudoku puzzles on a regular basis. She did crossword puzzles out of newspapers and anywhere she can get it. As I'm going through her things, I'm finding more and more and more Sudoku books that are half completed and, Fresno bees and different things. And so you just got to you got to be creative in coming up with a way of keeping your mind stimulated, keeping your mind active, whatever it may be. With the internet, there's some other resources that we'd be able to use, but you've got to be purposeful. You got to be intentional as you're trying to do those things. So anyway, what's pressing with you?
Oh man, just being beautiful. I was talking to a friend earlier tonight, man. If you a couple of friends actually, if you are in a situation that can't occupy your own time, then reach out and call somebody on the phone. It's hard understanding or going for me that people can't be at least have one friend out there that they could talk to or take a walk, or read the paper, read a book, and I understand about being stir crazy and this, that, and the other, but you could still go out, just wear a mask and make it brief, and you could walk in the park, you could walk around the block, there's a lot of different things you could do. Like I said, that's a hard one for me. I understand that there's people out there like that, but that's a hard road for me to cross there, brother.
Right, dude. And not everybody is adjustable, if that makes sense. If they're used to doing A and B to keep their minds occupied and to keep themselves occupied, when A and B is taken off the table, and they have to, transition to C or D, some people just don't do that. That's just, it creates as much anxiety, as much negativity as anything else. A lot of people don't adjust to change real well.
I can agree with that they don't adjust to change, but it's a situation where hey, maybe it's these little things right here that we have issue or take issue with, where people can't. I believe it's a mindset. If you believe that you can't, then you will never ever be able to do, even if it's something that you can do. You can dig a hole and bite yourself on the foot, and yeah.
So think about this perspective. You've got people who are in, and I guess it's getting a little bit better now, but you've got people who are COVID infected that are in medical facilities, whether it be nursing homes, convalescent homes, hospital settings, where their families can't get to them. If you're not basically on your deathbed, they're not allowing you to come in to their facilities because of their COVID restrictions and things. And so if you've got a person who is convalescing, who is going to beat COVID. They've been on ventilators and going through all of the medications and all those type of things, and they're going to beat it. They may go, 30, 45, 60 days without having interaction, other than on a phone call, if they can talk with their families. And so I'm quite sure that's kind of a burden that's pressing on some folks as well, that they can't, that they're isolated. They're not necessarily isolated because they're around medical people, nurses, doctors, those type of folks, but they're not around their loved ones. They're not around their families. And so, it's different, man. And this is going to change the way that we, around medical people, nurses, doctors, those type of, as much as anything else. One of the things, I just got off of a Zoom meeting with some other younger brothers that meet every Wednesday. And we were talking about some things about, they were saying that they were going to take the vaccination, that it ain't them, they're not going to do it, they're not guinea pigs and stuff. And so I asked him, I was like, on September 11th, 2001, or whatever it was, 2002, or whatever year it was, 9/11, what was your response or your reaction to that? Were you comfortable? Were you afraid? What was your reaction? And they kind of share what their reactions are. And so what I share with them is that for the last, I think it's 7 days now, either 6 or 7 days, it's just shy of 10. Every day we have been losing as many people who were killed in that 9/11 attack. We've been losing that many people to death, to COVID, every day. They're losing 3,000 people a day. So why is it not the same angst? It's not the same response that we have to what's going on with how we're responding to COVID as it was with that one day, September 11th, when we were attacked by whatever it was, 19 or 20 people from Saudi Arabia. And so it's just a different perspective, different way of looking at it, and how we respond, how we as Americans, how we as the United States respond to what's going on.
I propose that same question to you. I'd like to hear your take on it.
I think
why do you think
we're numb, dude?
Yeah, go ahead.
We as American people are numb to death. When we got to, I remember listening to listen to the radio, talk radio all the time, progressive radio stations, pretty much about maybe 3 or 4 hours at least a day, Monday through Friday. And when we were around the 100,000 mark or so of deaths, you should every day. That was when the governor of New York, Cuomo, every day he had his press conference. I don't know if you've been keeping up. You were keeping up with those, but every day at I want to say it was 7 o'clock Pacific time. I think it was either 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock Eastern. So it was either 7 or 8 o'clock here. Every day he would have a press conference. And he was even doing it on some Saturdays and Sundays, where he was talking about numbers in New York and hospital rates and all those type of things. Once we got past the 100,000 mark and New York kind of subsided, everybody kind of went back to normal, or not normal, but everybody kind of got out of our memories, out of our our perspectives. Same thing is kind of going on here in California, in particular in the San Joaquin Valley. We're in purple, dude. We're in the purple zone, which is the worst area, worst zone designation you could have for COVID infections, ICU bed occupants, and all of those type of things, number of infections. But people are still kind of going through their daily routines as everything is normal. And yeah, we're wearing masks, but I don't see a lot of curtailed activities. And so I don't know necessarily how to describe or put a label on that, but I just think that we've become numb to it. This too shall pass. We'll batten down the hatches and live through it, and whatever comes out on the other end, then we'll be able to survive from it, which is kind of destructive. So I don't know if that answers your question or not. I kind of rambled a little bit, but
it takes me into another couple of questions. Why Okay, it's destructive because people are going to die. Um, I kind of understand that. I
So
think we've talked about this on our program before, that the Central Valley and where we live, people aren't very intelligent, but I'll say they don't watch the news. They don't keep up with numbers. They're not a very educated populace. The ones that do work jobs that are service related, where they have to go to work and they have to do things. The other part of the population here are where we are is a red Trump understanding place where they don't even, for the most part, they don't even believe that the vaccine, I mean, not the vaccine, that the virus is real. So I mean, you have to take people for what they are, where they are, and I don't see why that is such a, you can only do, for the most part, you can only do what you can do. You can wear your mask, you can limit your behavior outside, you can stay 6 feet from people, and go on about your business. I don't, those, yeah, and I do believe that it is a portion of society that says this too shall pass.
so think
There's
about it.
there's no exigency.
When we were teenagers and we were growing up in the 80s, there were black males between the ages of whatever it was, 16 and 24, that was dying, being killed every night in drive-bys and different types of activities in the city of Los Angeles. And if you remember, there's a line in Boys in the Hood when Ice Cube, whatever his name was, after Ricky, the football player, gets killed, and all that stuff goes on. Ricky gets shot down in the alleyway. Then Ice Cube and them go and they shoot up 3 or 4 dudes who got Ricky. And the next morning when he wakes up, there's nothing on the news. There's nothing in the newspaper about it. And he makes a statement about, either people just they don't know, or they just don't care. And I think it's kind of that our society gets numb. Unfortunately, we get numb um, to unfortunately get numb to the loss of life. And think about it, dude. We've lost. There is 300,000 Americans that have died from COVID.
How
There
many
are.
Americans are there?
Good question.
So that's
100
going to be
million.
probably less than 1%, huh?
Yeah. It's less than 1%. I want to say it's 389 million or something like that. 400 million people in the United States, something like that
So
is what our population
that's
is.
a somewhat 99% of the population aren't dying. I would say, how many people have been affected by the disease? Yeah, they don't care because they don't see it as a threat. So how do you get the sheep to go into the pen? You have to steer them into the pen. You can't just, the
But
sheep don't care. They want to eat. They want to
agreed,
poop. They want to
agreed,
exist.
agreed. So you need a shepherd. You need a shepherd to lead the sheep to wherever it is you want to go, to the pen, out of the pen, wherever you need the sheep to go. You need a shepherd to do that. And think about who the shepherd has been for the last 4 years in the United States of America. Whether we followed him, whether we were good sheep and followed him or not, the shepherd of the United States of America has been Donald J. Trump, which has been a freaking farce from day one when he was elected. And it's unfortunate that you got the virus, the pandemic going on at the same time that you got this pandemic in leadership, pandemic in shepherdhood, being a shepherd at the same time. When you got Australia and New Zealand now, which are declaring themselves COVID free. They're not allowing any people to come into their countries, New Zealand and Australia, except for between New Zealand and Australia, because that's the only place they can be assured that nobody's going to bring the virus back into their country. So how I know they don't have the populations we do, but Australia has the size. Australia is bigger than the United States. I want to say Australia is twice the size of the United States. Now, it doesn't have the same type of population, the number of people, but as far as the land mass, Australia is twice the size of the United States.
So in order to get in Australia right now, because Michael's roommate is, we just had this conversation. His old roommate from college, one of them was from Australia and another one's from New Zealand. In order to get in the country, you have to quarantine for 14 days in a hotel.
Correct.
The Australian government used to pay for that, but now they make the citizens pay for that when they come in, and nobody wants to pay for it. So no one's going to Australia as it stands right now. You are correct. Donald Trump was the leader of our country and the leader of the sheep. And he went out and made a farce of this whole pandemic, this whole thing. And now he and his followers who are on their way out are going to leave and be gone, hopefully. And that's a positive thing for our nation. And I do believe that because of what I've seen with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, we will see more education in community-based education on commercials and different things, and public people speaking out and telling people to stay indoors and wash their hands, and a bigger push for these types of efforts and energies. However, you're going to still have the people that are on the other side um, of the ledger, the Republicans, who are going to still say that this pandemic is man-made and false, and that we'll get through it. And it's only the KMJ rhetoric of it's only 2% of the percentage if you go and eat in a restaurant, and we need to keep our restaurants open, and we need to do this and we need to do that. That's the herd mentality. And so yeah, I get it. So we're half and half of a country split right down the middle, with people who are going to do the right thing for the right reasons, and people who are going to do the wrong things for their own reasons. And we're just going to have to understand why it's divided, and try and make an understanding of getting better. And like I always say, life is an individual sport played on teams. You got to make sure that you're healthy, hydrated, and in the best physical condition that you can to take on this pandemic.
Have you seen the meme that's going out there that says something to the fact that there are 0.000, I think it's 4 zeros and a 3% of the American population that dies from hypothermia every year? And so basically us who wears coats going out into the outside in the wintertime is basically hypocrites, because less than 1% of the population dies from hypothermia. So hypothermia can't be real. And what they're basically doing is equating that to what's going on with the COVID virus. That is less than whatever it is, 1% of the population, American population, or less than 3% of American population is dying from COVID. So it's not a big deal. It is a big deal. The loss of life, the loss of any life is a big deal. And the loss of any life that is caused by something that can be controlled, either through the shepherd or through our own individual individual ways that we do life, like you said, washing hands, using hand sanitizers, keeping our distance, wearing our mask, through our own characteristics and our own behaviors. If you can change what you're doing individually or by following the shepherd to salvage a life or two, it's worth doing. And right now, unfortunately, for the last, during the time of this pandemic, we haven't been doing that. And I agree with you. Joe Biden came out and said one of the things he's going to do in his first 100 days is he's going to mandate where he can. He's going to mandate that people wear masks. So that's federal businesses, federal employees, those type of things. He's going to mandate wearing masks for 100 days and suggest or encourage everyone else to wear masks for 100 days to see where that kind of gets us. And I agree with him. I think that's a great step. But I also think he needs, in certain areas, he needs to encourage he needs to encourage some governors to do some shutdowns, some stay in place orders, for a matter of 30 days or whatever. Bite the bullet now. And unfortunately, we're all screwed up, but bite the bullet now with shutting down. Have the Congress come together and say, look, we're going to pay people X amount of dollars, $800 a month for 3 months or 2 months or whatever to stay at home. We're going to give them a check for them to stay at home so that we can see if we can eradicate or at least make a big dent into what's going on with this virus and it's spreading itself. If he doesn't do that in some major areas such as California, New York, Texas, Florida, Illinois, if he doesn't do that in some of those larger areas, it's you got cured. All of a sudden now you're going back out in the same dirty sewer. You're gonna catch this shit again. You're gonna get sick again. You're gonna get something else. And so, doing it one time in North Dakota is different than doing it one time in Los Angeles. It's not the same type of environment. It's not the same type of situation. So you got to come up with different plans of actions, I think, to be able to eradicate this. So, question with you. So the vaccines are out now. So they've got the first set of vaccines started going out on Monday. I guess it was Monday or yesterday. People are getting vaccinated all over the country, mainly in the larger cities. And it's the healthcare workers, doctors, nurses who are dealing directly with COVID patients. What's your reaction to just kind of the first couple of days, what's going on with the vaccinations?
There is nothing. We're waiting to see when they start growing the third finger and one of their eyes go shut and their ears start getting pointy and longer. We're in a wait and see situation, I mean, there is no how do I feel? Bravo, go get them.
So I thought it was interesting. One of the things I did not know is that UPS and the United States Postal Service have divided the country in half. And UPS is delivering vaccinations to a certain portion of the United States, and the United States Postal Service is delivering vaccinations to a different set. And they said that it's a pretty elaborate system that they're using, because the vaccine they're using now is the one that has to stay at sub 700,000 degrees Fahrenheit or whatever the fuck it is, whatever the freezing level is, which is kind of weird. And there's not a lot of places, not a lot of delivery systems that have that type of capabilities to be able to keep the vaccination that cold. So those two are doing this first round, and then the second round, they just got approved. And I don't want to say the name because I may get the wrong name. I know one of them is Minerva. Anyway, I don't remember what the companies are, but the one that's coming out that just got approved now is going to be the second one. It doesn't have to be at that cold freezing temperature, and so they have some other distribution options to be able to get that vaccination out to different places. So there's actually supposed to be vaccines here in Fresno. I think it was today, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know when they're giving them out, but it was either yesterday or today. The first round of how many ever vaccines it was here that was supposed to have been given out. So just interesting. I mean, and like you said, let me ask you this question: is growing a 6-finger, pointed ears, and being absolved of being able to ever contract COVID, is it worth it?
You're not. Well, first of all, it's a vaccine for the strand of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't say that the COVID can't mutate. And
you said that that we got to wait and find out that people are going to grow an extra finger or elongated ears. You said something else. My question is those physical mutations, in your estimation, worth getting the vaccination,
or not getting the vaccination?
or
What
not
you're asking me?
or staying normal and be susceptible
if I'm
to
gonna get a vaccination and I'm gonna grow pointy ears and an extra finger and all that, I'm not taking no vaccine. No, absolutely not. I can wait and stay clean, stay out of the radar, stay out of the way, and stay in my home and take the precautions, and I think I'll be just fine. While the rest of the population goes and gets vaccinated and cleans up the virus, because once it's gone, right? Just like polio, right?
I don't. They don't know. They don't know. Polio has been eradicated, I believe, but AIDS, they haven't been able to eradicate AIDS. That's a virus. They haven't been able to eradicate herpes. That's a virus. They haven't been able to eradicate the flu virus because the flu virus keeps morphing. They
I'm
thought
51.
they thought they had
50.
eliminated syphilis, but we
I'm
just had a syphilis
53
outbreak
years
here in
old.
Butler County.
I'm 53 years old, and I've never had syphilis. I've never had AIDS. I've never had herpes. I've never had any of those things, those viruses. So for me, yeah, it would be where my lifestyle is not where I'm out there sharpshooting. So I don't worry about that stuff.
Okay. Um, so in your capacities, as your professional capacities, as being a servant to public, you now come across an individual who is infected with one of the viruses that now you have to interact with.
Wait. What do you mean one of the viruses?
The person could have syphilis, the person could have herpes, the person could have HIV.
Okay.
That doesn't alarm you enough to want to be able to protect yourself, whether it be through a vaccination, inoculation, or some other types of process.
So let's go through these. Let's go through these vaccine. How you get them in your lifestyle. It doesn't equate to me. So no, me walking by someone and talking to somebody, I'm not worried about getting syphilis. I'm not worried about getting herpes. I'm not worried about uh, getting any virus. No, I'm not. Doesn't bother me one bit.
Okay.
Not one
Okay.
bit. I don't have any
Okay.
pre-existing healthcare issues or anything like that. No, not one bit. I got a bum shoulder that hurts a little bit,
But what I'm just saying is because you are in the public sphere, interacting with the public. The question I was trying to get at, maybe I didn't ask it very well, is just about the protections that you need to have with yourself. So with me, I got exposed to TB when in 1992, I think it was, or 93, when I first started working in education. I got exposed to TB. So the TB virus is in me. Okay. The medications they had me take, I don't remember how long I took it, 6 months or something like that. I take a pill. What I've learned is that the TB virus is still inside of me, but the medication they gave me basically sterilized the TB virus where it cannot multiply. So it can't reproduce itself and affect my lungs. So now when I go get a TB test, if I go get a TB test, I'm gonna have a lump on my arm. So I got to go get an X-ray on my chest X-ray to see if I have any splotches or anything on my lungs, which I've never had. And so that's what I'm kind of understanding is the way that this vaccination is working with this COVID. It's not that they're eliminating the body of COVID, but that they're basically sterilizing the COVID virus where it can't reproduce itself inside of the system. Is understanding from the information I've heard and what I've read. That's kind of what is going on with this vaccination, which is a little bit different process than the flu virus, where they give you a little bit of the flu so that your body builds up the antibodies to it to be able to fight it off and ward it off. It's a different.
well, they don't. Well, they don't give you the flu, and I researched that. They give you dead flu antibodies so that when they go into your body, the white blood cells in your body attack those dead cells, which are foreign, and then you start to build up an antibody or a army in your system to attack and fight those invaders. And so
Yes.
the question then I have for you is, for a person that has already had COVID, which is not a secret, I've had COVID. Why would a person like me get the COVID vaccine if my body has already stored and or has already started to build and store the antibodies to fight off, or the white blood cells to fight off this particular virus? Why would I get the vaccine?
Because the data is still out as to whether or not you can recontract or get or contract COVID again. Could be a different strand. They don't even know if you can get the same strand back. And so
So
the
basically,
truth,
you're saying get the vaccine so that you could be safe, rather safe than sorry.
yeah, I guess that's
Based on the fear that you might get it again.
correct. Not based on fact, because there is no facts right now about getting it a second time. So basically, people are not.
There's no what?
There's no
There's
data
no
that
what?
says there's no data that says that you cannot get COVID a second time. The theory is based on viruses.
Everything that COVID has been out for a year, and everything that I've heard, I haven't read anything about it. I've heard that one person has gotten COVID 2 times.
It's more than one person. It's more than one person. There's two
Okay,
people.
two people.
There's two people in a conversation, a webinar that I was on last Wednesday, who, well, they weren't there, but there was two people who somebody said that two people had contracted it for the second time. They had it back in whenever it
You
was.
can't take that to court. So I'm not going to even fiddle with the hearsay aspect of this. As far as I've heard, Gerald Miller has heard, and which is
hearsay.
24/7 being awake, not an issue.
It's hearsay though.
Not an issue.
Just like you're saying it's hearsay that I'm telling you that two people have said they had it a second time.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
You're saying that it's hearsay that you can't get it. And what I'm telling you is the doctors.
No. I'm not saying that it's hearsay that you can't get it a second time, because I just told you that I've only heard of one person getting it. One person.
The doctors, the experts,
so my percentages of getting it for a second time are very, very low, regardless of out of all of the people that have had COVID and 3 people that you can verify that have had it, I'll take my chances. There's no reason if you've gotten COVID, there's no reason for you to take the virus.
Okay, so let me ask you this question:
drink your water, stay healthy.
Why do you wear a mask?
Take your Tylenol. Take your
Why do you wear
medicine.
Why do you wash your hands? Why do you use hand sanitizer? Why are you doing those things if you are not worried about contracting COVID again?
Why do I do it?
Yeah.
Because a nasty motherfucker, and I don't like cussing, don't wash his hands, don't do all these things. If you cannot go and shop without wearing a mask, that's why you have to do it. It's a mandate by your government to wear a mask when you go in and shop. If I didn't have to wear a mask, I wouldn't. I wash my hands because I'm not nasty. I'm washing my hands because we're not just talking about COVID out there. I wash my hands before I got COVID. I wash my hands because other people are nasty. They go to the bathroom and they wipe their butts and don't wash their hands. They pick up things that they shouldn't be picking up and touch door handles. People are nasty. You should wash your hands and brush your teeth when you get up in the morning, regardless of. Right now, the government says that you wear a mask to go in places and shop, or they will put you out and cause a big disturbance. That's why I wear a mask.
Okay, so let me ask you a question about hand washing. Do you wash your hands? I agree with what you said about nasty people out there. Are you washing your hands more frequent now than you did prior to the COVID virus?
No.
Okay, and you're one of the few. Because everybody I know, whether they agree or disagree, are washing their hands more often. They are walking around with hand sanitizers.
I don't walk around with hand I don't like using hand sanitizers. It's actually pretty disgusting if you ask me about hand sanitizers. But that's a personal preference. Some people don't like to eat pork because of the way it tastes in their mouth or feels in their mouth. And that's just personal preference. I don't do that. So if I do use hand sanitizer, I immediately go and wash whatever I've just killed on my hands that are still on my hands off with soap and warm water. Just like when I use the bathroom, I wash my hands.
Yeah, so do I. But what I'm hearing you say is that your hand washing is no more. Your hand washing regimen has not changed pre-COVID or post-COVID. That's what I hear you say, and I can tell you that mine has increased times 5. Washing hands, hand sanitizer, wearing masks. Yeah, my activities have been totally changed and impacted because of what's going on with the COVID virus.
Your Uncle Sam says basic hand washing is not a common thing with a lot of people.
It's
and
true.
He's correct.
It's true. Think about it. In Middle Eastern customs,
if you want to protect yourself, you wash your hands. Once again, it's back to the individual mandate. But everybody don't see that.
We have cultures in this world who use one of their hands to clean their butt after a bowel movement. That is just part of that's just part of their cultural customs. And so I hear what you're saying. And I got you. I got you. I got you.
Yeah.
I can't keep up with you. So you have to keep up with Facebook, and I can't keep up with it. Every time I do it, it screws up stuff. So anyway, so I just the vaccination is something of interest to me right now. I'm interested to see what's going to happen with the people who got the first vaccination, who wound up not getting a second vaccination, because remember the vaccination is in a series of 2. So
did you see that did you see that nurse that got the vaccination? She was the first one to get it, the healthcare worker.
No. I may have heard her, but I didn't see her.
The dark lady that was on TV yesterday.
I haven't seen anybody. I've listened to them on the radio, interviews on the radio, but I haven't seen anybody. No.
Well, the day before she took the vaccination, she was a white woman. Gotcha.
That ain't fun. I should have known I was Yeah. So anyway, I've heard lots of interviews from different people. New York, Chicago, New York, Chicago. I don't remember where those other cities were. But when they were given the first round of the vaccinations, they were doing interviews with different people. And most of the people that they talked with were doctors. There was one nurse from somewhere, but most of the other people were doctors, ER doctors, a lot of people who dealing with the heart. I guess COVID, that's one of the big things is damaging people's hearts. So there's lots of pulmonary doctors who are seeing COVID patients. And by the way, we have 300,000 acknowledged deaths of COVID, and they're saying that there's even more deaths than that. And in some areas, in some states, if you die from a diabetic coma, they're saying that you're dying from diabetes, although your body has got COVID inside of it. And so that's the big deal that's going on with that lady who got busted in Florida. You heard about the lady who got raided at gunpoint? She had gotten fired by DeSantis, who's the governor of Florida, because she wouldn't fudge on the numbers. So she started her own website and was printing out numbers in Florida based on information she was getting from different people. And they raided her house at gunpoint. It was crazy. That was last week, I believe it was, maybe a week before. But yeah, so there's some people, there's some governors out there who are feverishly trying to pad the stats and don't want the truth to come out. But it's all getting ready to turn. We got roughly 35 more days, right? No, it'll be longer than that. About 40? No, 35
For
days.
what,
Huh?
Biden to turn?
Yeah. And so today is what's the
For
date?
Biden to turn this
Today's the
super
16th,
tanker
so
in the
15.
ocean. It ain't
So
easy
yeah,
to make a U-turn, brother.
35 days. We got about 35 days before Biden is sworn in. We got 20 something days before the Senate election in Georgia, which is going to be pivotal moving forward.
That's the
Did you
5th,
know?
right?
Yeah, the
5th or
special
7th
election,
of
the
January.
runoff election in Georgia is the 5th. Have you noticed that Turtle Man is
Yeah.
changing
So,
his tune? McConnell?
man, they're all gonna do that. They're all gonna do that.
I'm
So
surprised.
I'm gonna take this time right now to say, if you know somebody in Georgia, give them a call. Make sure they vote. Make sure that they go out and they exercise their right. Because if you want to see change and do change and have change and make a little change, then you need to make sure that the people in Georgia go out and vote for the 2 Democrats to put them in, so that Biden can open the gates of I don't know what to call it, change, and get it done. Because if they don't, then, like you say, Turtle Man just gonna go back to doing his own thing, and it's gonna be all for naught. So for me, that's a bigger issue than COVID. You know, if the Senate continues to hold on to the Senate and the power structure and all that, COVID is going to continue to run rampant. If the Senate is changed to the Democratic Senate, hopefully Joe Biden will be able to put things in place and not be such a nice guy, and then you can see things change more rapidly than to have to wait for another 2 years while the Senate is blocking and stalling Biden and Kamala Harris. I think that's more important than COVID at this immediate time.
Agreed. The most
You
important
said
thing
you wanted
right
to say something about your mama.
Yeah. The most important thing right now, though, is Georgia in the whole political scheme. Because if that don't happen, as you said, Joe Biden is going to be kneecapped and handicapped what he's going to be able to do going forward. So I agree with you wholeheartedly on that one. No, what I want to do is just talk about, just thank people, first of all. Thank people for, those of you who were able to attend our mom's homegoing service. Thank you for that. Thank you for the overabundance of cards, phone calls, text messages, flowers that were received at the funeral, at Cooley's funeral home, and at the house in Butler Park. I received flowers here at the house over here where I am in Arthur. So I just want to say thank you to everyone. From what I'm understanding, there was over 200 people who were on Zoom, who watched the ceremonies unfold on Zoom. We'll be able, I'm going to try, I'm not sure exactly how, I'm going to try to send it out to people that I've got their email address, but it's over 2 hours long. We're going to be sending out programs, the homegoing programs to different people. We have some addresses and things, so we'll work on that, getting those out over the next 10 days or so. But thank you to everybody. Obviously, our mom was a very special person, not only to the two of us and the Miller and Hendricks and Sears families, but she was obviously very important to a lot of other people. And so I just want to say thank you for loving our mom as well and as much as we loved her.
I agree. I appreciate it. It was nice to see all the love. Thank you to the Coolies. Appreciate you. Much love. Thank you, Mrs. Cooley. Thank you, Mr. Corey Cooley. And to the whole Cooley family, you did a fabulous job. Fabulous job. And I appreciate it. my family appreciates it.
True. You know, given what was going on with COVID, I wasn't quite sure what to expect, but everything turned out well. You know, like you said, with the coolies and their accommodations, the funeral at Belmont Memorial, when we got there, they had told us that they were only going to allow 15 people in. We can only be there for 15 minutes. And I don't know what happened at the gate. I don't know if people just bum rushed the gate or what, but when we pulled up to the grave site, there was about, I don't know, 20 or 30 cars that followed us in there. And there wasn't any questions about it, any issues. And so we were able to honor our
I think my
mom.
man had a bathroom break and
You didn't see
took
he was
advantage
there
of
at
his
the gate
bathroom
when we
break.
passed by him.
I appreciate it. I don't want to get nobody in trouble. I appreciate you taking your bathroom break, my man. I just love you for it. Love
I
you
don't
for
think
it.
he
It's
wanted to
beautiful.
try to shut the gate because he probably would have got run over. But it all turned out well. And so for those of you who were unable to join us, we're planning a major public ceremony for our moms to celebrate our mom's life in 2021. Right now, we're targeting to do it the weekend of her birthday, which would have been her 78th birthday, March 12th, 13th, 14th. COVID willing, that's the plan. If we cannot be able to do it where we can physically get together, then it will probably be in the summer. But sometime in 2021, God willing, we're going to have a major celebration of our mom's life so that everybody can participate. So we'll be working on that part. I want to give a shout out to my boy KP. You know, KP is the guy who helps us with this every week with In Touch, making sure that we got all the technical components worked out. KP was our live stream, our Zoom live stream guy. And about 2 hours and 15 minutes into the program, my phone service went out. And so we weren't able to carry the whole ceremony on Zoom. But what KP did is he maneuvered to be able to record the last 15 minutes of it when we're doing the viewing parts of it. So we'll have to find some kind of way, see if we can connect the two to make one big long video of the whole ceremony. So thank you, KP. I know you're on there in the dark. I know you're on there
Thank you very
somewhere.
much. I appreciate it. You know you're loved. I would say you're going to be a serious Miller with that boy after what I saw y'all do the other night. Love him. Love my family.
What that
Woo,
mean?
big hug. Big hug. Nothing.
Our family is good, man. You know,
I didn't say it was bad.
you said after what you saw, I'm not sure what you witnessed.
I'm half blind. One of my eyes is closed.
Okay, Harry Jr.
One of my eyes is closed. You know,
Okay,
the other
Harry
one
Jr.
is glass.
Hey,
So
and by the way, our dad. A lot of you guys have been asking us about how's our dad doing. You know, him and my mom were married for 56 years. He's fine. He don't have a care in the world. He ain't got to worry about food. He ain't got to worry about cleaning up nothing. All I'm trying to do is get him to one space that he can just kind of annihilate, and we clean up every other day or so, rather than tearing up the whole house. But he's doing fine. He is going through his transition period, and so, but he's doing fine. His mental faculties are there. He's able to do things. If you have his cell phone number, please call him on a cell phone number. Right now, the house number is the house phone is off the hook because he wasn't answering it, and everybody, not just about the funeral services, but he's getting somebody. I don't know if Mama did it or somebody, but they're getting these robocalls on a regular basis. You know, 6, 7, 8, 9 times a day when I'm over there doing things, and so we've agreed to leave the home phone off the hook for now until we can either put an answering service on it or some other kind of means to be able to respond, or somebody to answer those phones so that people can leave a message and then we can respond back to it. So if you have his phone number, if you have his cell number, please try to contact him if you want to talk with him on his cell phone. So with that, next week is that Christmas Eve or 2 days before Christmas?
Christmas is Friday.
So it'll be
Christmas
2
Eve
days
will be
before
Thursday.
Christmas.
before Christmas.
Okay, so maybe I'll wear my Santa hat. You got the beard. I'll wear the hat. And we'll talk about some of our cherished memories about Christmas. And as I said earlier, when I came on earlier, find a way to celebrate Christmas with your family. I understand that we can't get together and all the big turkeys and the fixings.
Let's say the holidays, because not everybody celebrates
Got you.
Christmas. So
The
let's say the
holidays.
holidays.
But I know that's a time for the family to get together and big meals and those type of things. And we're not going to be able to do that this year. But it doesn't mean that you can't do something. Utilize Zoom, as Joe said earlier, pick up your phone and call. But stay connected in some type of way because our families, our loved ones need that. We need that. We individually need that to keep that connectivity. And so I'm encouraging everybody to find a way. You'd be surprised. We did a family reunion. When was that? August? July or August? We did the Miller family reunion, the Miller Campbell family reunion when we're supposed to have been in Dumas. Not Dumas, when we're supposed to have been in Little Rock. We did a family.
I didn't make it to that.
We did a family reunion. There was about 120 people, 110, 115, 120 people that were on there. And I was scared to death about how it was going to work with your daddy and a couple of other ministers that was on there, but it worked out perfect. We were on there for about 2 hours, and it was a great opportunity for people to share, kind of, tell people who they were, how they were connected. And then some of the older folks, some of our seniors started telling stories about Dumas, Arkansas, and education and school and all that kind of thing. So please utilize these platforms, these technological platforms that we have to make sure that you stay connected with your loved ones during the holiday seasons. So that's all I got, G.
Love, peace, and hair grease.
No, I take it back. No, it's not. Congratulations to
Smile
all.
on your face.
Congratulations to all of the seniors that are here in this area that have had to struggle through the cancellation of their seasons, who were signing today. There was quite a few people, young people that I know directly, that were signing today as part of the early signing process for their college careers starting next year in the fall. So congratulations to all of you. Football, track. I didn't see any basketball folks, cross country, volleyball. I saw a bunch of youngsters today with the early signing period that signed letters of intent to go to different colleges all over the United States. And so congratulations to you, individual athletes, as well as your families who supported you on your next big endeavor moving forward. So with that,
and happy birthday to all the December birthday babies and all the loved ones in December. Happy birthday to you guys. Appreciate you.
All right. So with that, we will see everybody, God willing, next Wednesday. We'll celebrate Christmas. Maybe I'll have some Christmas trees, some jingle bells, or some other kind of music or songs, and we can talk about some highlights about the holiday seasons, and maybe some people can share with us through Facebook how they're going to be connecting with their families so that we can share that information with others. But until next Wednesday, peace, everybody.